Right now, your brain is secretly being hacked and reprogrammed hundreds of times a day, methodically grinding down your willpower until it simply stops working. It's time to wake up if you want to keep even a ghost of a chance at saving your attention span. Do you really think it's an accident every time you reach for your screen, open that forbidden tab, or grab a bag of junk food? Every single microaction isn't an annoying coincidence. It's the result of deep, years-long psychological programming engineered by an entire industry. The biggest lie sold to you by self-help gurus and popular influencers is that you just need to be a little more disciplined. Stop buying into these fairy tales. Willpower is the weakest, rustiest, most useless weapon in the mental warfare you are currently losing miserably. We are going to break down every weapon of this invisible enemy from both a biological and spiritual standpoint, and then we will hack the system using solutions that transcend any scientific limitations. To visually grasp the scale of this disaster, picture your mind as an impregnable medieval castle. The average person thinks the enemy storms the fortress head-on with cannons, battering rams, and screaming soldiers at the front gates. But the real adversary is called the father of lies for a reason, not the father of kicking doors down. He operates much more subtly, deploying 5 sophisticated weapons against your attention. The first tactic is the classic bribery of the guard at the gate. In your brain, this sentry is played by the reticular activating system, or RAS. It functions as a strict importance filter. To your brain, the only things that matter are those promising quick and massive rewards. And this importance is measured by the amount of dopamine released. When you spend hours scrolling through an endless feed or playing games, your dopamine levels skyrocket compared to boring tasks like reading books or doing deep work. Your internal guard quickly figures out who pays more and starts letting only super stimulating triggers pass through, completely blocking useful information. This is why, even when you put the gadget down and force yourself to get to work, your bribed brain instantly sabotages the process by throwing thoughts of TV shows or snacks at you. Ancient texts describe this biological process with chilling accuracy. Those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, and a mind that gives in to low desires becomes so defiled that it completely loses control. Biology and spirit converge at a single point. Your attention filter has been hijacked. Trying to break out of this trap on willpower alone is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Your brain is already physically damaged and reprogrammed to crave what destroys you. Think that's as bad as it gets? The enemy goes further and uses a second weapon. He forces the bribed guard to simply leave the gates wide open. When the gates are thrown open, it doesn't matter how well-trained your elite soldiers are, the enemy army just floods the city 24/7. In the scientific community, this is known as the processional model of self-control. The breakdown doesn't happen when you make a choice, but much earlier, at the level of attention fixation. The moment your eyes lock onto a trigger, whether it's a flashy thumbnail, a pop-up notification, or a bag of food on the table, your body fires off a hormonal cocktail of desire before your critical thinking can even kick in. By the time your awareness tries to speak up, the battle is already 80% lost. The Epistle of James maps out this assembly line in detail. A person is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed, which then gives birth to action. The order of operations is crucial. The biological program inside your head activates before your mind even begins to weigh the pros and cons. You are stepping into the ring with your hands and feet already tied. Trying to control yourself the moment a trigger has fired is a fatal mistake, because the neural pathway launches automated behavior you've rehearsed thousands of times in a split second. But what happens when the enemy secures a foothold inside the walls? Imagine that instead of open terror, the enemy builds a fully legal 24/7 casino right in your city square. Why fight a war when you can get your defenders to voluntarily gamble away all their resources while thinking only about the next jackpot? They don't care about defense anymore. They are blinded by the thrill. This is the third and most dangerous weapon, the cult of novelty and unpredictability, known in science as variable ratio reinforcement. A famous study on primates by British neuroscientists revealed a terrifying pattern. When the reward delivery became completely unpredictable, a 50-50 coin toss, dopamine motivation circuits spiked to peak levels. The brain gets its biggest rush not from the reward itself, but from the suspense and uncertainty. This is the exact hook keeping you trapped in app feeds. You scroll through tons of garbage hoping the next video will be that hidden gem. But the scariest part of that study was something else. During the waiting periods for an unpredictable reward, dopamine neurons stayed consistently elevated. The brain literally gets stuck in a zombie-like state of perpetual thirst and anticipation, even if it gets nothing in return. This is why you can't drop your device even when you feel sick and bored. You are waiting for that phantom spike. Novelty and chaos create a lethal addiction that paralyzes the will. The picture gets darker. But hold on, we have to get to the bottom of this, because there are still two critical vulnerabilities ahead. The enemy's fourth tactic is replacing your army's command staff. Imagine all military protocols are rewritten, and soldiers are now officially trained to surrender at the slightest noise. On a biological level, the basal ganglia are responsible for this, the zone where your habits are hardwired into place. Your brain is plastic. It knows how to build new connections, but the catch is that uprooting old automation from the basal ganglia is incredibly difficult. Once an action, like the habit of opening your screen at the slightest hint of boredom, takes root there, it becomes a physical part of your brain's architecture. This is exactly why addictions you thought you conquered can suddenly relapse after years of total freedom. The prophet Jeremiah sharply asked, "Can the Ethiopian change his skin or the leopard its spots? Then may you also do good who are accustomed to do evil." Even the great apostle Paul lamented in his letters, admitting that he did not do the good he wanted to do, but instead did the very evil he hated. This isn't just a metaphor, it's the law of the flesh. When the body is conditioned to destructive patterns, your conscious intellectual desires take a back seat to the automation of your physiology. The fifth and final weakness they hit without missing is the phenomenon of idle soldiers. When an army has nothing to do, it goes to rot in the casino. In medicine, this is called the default mode network, DMN. This system cranks up to maximum capacity precisely when your mind is not occupied with a specific task. Remember this. Your brain never rests when it's idle. It just starts to wander chaotically, and in that moment, a landslide of past coasts, regrets, future anxieties, worst-case scenarios, and toxic social comparisons comes crashing down on you. The psyche cannot handle being alone with this discomfort, so it frantically searches for a quick digital hit to escape. This is why during any 5-second pause, in a line, at a red light, during the smallest hiccup at work, your hand automatically pulls out your device. It is time to deliver on the promise and activate the cheat codes left for our total victory. The first solution involves reprogramming your reticular system. The importance filter can and must be retrained, and this process is called the renewing of the mind. Scripture demands, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." To rebuild this biological filter, you must either completely eliminate cheap dopamine sources or offer your brain something incomparably more powerful in stimulation. Renewing the mind is not some tedious mechanical memorization of texts. It is a deep, transformative immersion into the reality of the Creator, capable of physically altering your perception. The second step is the closed gate tactic. If you want to stop the invasion, you must strictly lock down every single entry point. Every sense, every step you take is a potential gate for an enemy attack. Ancient wisdom declares, "Keep your heart with all diligence. Let your eyes look straight ahead and remove your foot from evil." The only way to win this war with minimal strain on your willpower is to implement a policy of absolute zero tolerance toward triggers. Clear out the junk food, cut off toxic content, instantly look away from explicit images, and turn off destructive music. This isn't fanaticism or an extreme lifestyle. It is basic mental hygiene that preserves your cognitive resources, because the enemy simply cannot enter the castle to cause chaos. But what about our biological thirst for novelty? Popular digital detox challenges fail precisely because they try to break human nature, forcing you to live in a sterile vacuum. We were hardwired to seek powerful experiences. Instead of fighting your biology, you need to redirect this seeking instinct toward the most inexhaustible source of novelty, God Himself. The ancient invitation to taste and see speaks of a real, tangible spiritual experience. No status symbols, luxury cars, travel, or surrogate worldly pleasures can match the thrill and fulfillment found in connecting with the source of life. This is the highest, purest form of stimulation, and it permanently solves the problem of boredom and unpredictability. When you trust him, reality begins to shatter your boldest and most ambitious expectations, turning every day into a thrilling adventure. If your brain is so deeply hardwired with bad habits that science has written you off as a lost cause, we have a metaphysical solution. Scripture suggests skipping repairs on the old, broken machine altogether. Instead, it tells you to fully strip off your former lifestyle, the old man, and put on an entirely new identity, created according to the highest standard of truth. Anyone operating within this framework becomes a new creation, where everything old and destructive is officially gone. You need to be renewed in the spirit of your mind, stopping the habit of viewing yourself through limited worldly and biological lenses. As long as you believe you are just a collection of bones, meat, and dopamine receptors, you will remain a slave to the system. But the moment the spiritual dimension is activated, the old neural chains of the basal ganglia simply snap under the pressure of your new identity. Finally, let's settle the issue of the wandering mind and the DMN. Science has discovered that this system has a powerful antidote, the central executive network, which activates only when there is a clear, conscious task at hand. Your mind must be strictly locked onto creation, truth, and purity. Do exactly what you are supposed to be doing in this exact second, leaving zero mental voids. If you don't know what to tackle first, switch into a mode of unceasing prayer, filling the gaps with an internal dialogue with the Most High instead of mindlessly zoning out into a screen. Practice silence. Stop, mute the external noise, and flood the newly freed mental space with the awareness of the Creator's majesty. This isn't an esoteric emptying of your head. It is the ultimate concentration of attention on the one who restores custody of your own life back to you. Be ready for mental ambushes. Study the word like a combat weapon. Take every rogue thought captive. And finally, stop being a victim in this war for your attention. Implement these principles step by step. Start with the foundational renewal of your mind and take back control of your time right now.